Welcome to Talk, Totally Accepting Life Skill. I'm your host, Tashiko. On this program, we share the journey of a multiplicity of persons from all strata, sectors, and professions. Today, we're talking with Jackie. Jackie will be sharing her journey with us today. Well, I won't give it away. I'll allow Jackie to speak with us and so that you can hear her journey. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with us today, Jackie.
My pleasure.
Tell the folks, who is Jackie?
Oh, well, Jackie is a very simple person, but one who is passionate about life and has taken a long journey to come into her own of her purpose on earth here.
Yes.
It was a long journey for me to even come to God. Yes. So based on where I'm coming from, I grew up as a Rastafarian, a family of 12 children, at least 13, one died. Mother and father, all Rastafarian.
Oh.
I was born in Kingston. I'm from Kingston originally.
Jackie, you're not a Portlander?
No, I'm not.
Seriously?
Yes.
I want to kick you off of my set, you know.
No, you don't.
I'm just joking. I thought some reason for how long since you've been here? You came when you were a child or what? Because I've known you here in Portland all my life.
I came here as a teenager.
Oh.
My father is from Portland.
Oh, okay. Well, you're kind of, yeah.
But I've been back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But my life begins to change after I reach the age of 18.
Also?
I become ill at that age.
Well, before we get to that story, tell me about growing up as a Rastafarian.
Oh.
What was your household like? And
let me tell you something. That's something all by itself because we have a loving relationship in the house. Mm-hmm. Believe me, we have fun growing up. But the difference between Port Antonio and Kingston is that I have the greatest of life in Kingston. Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't need anything.
Yes.
I was not short of anything growing up in Kingston. Coming to Portland, it's an all new experience for me because that's where I first began to know what poverty was really, really, really like. Because my father worked as a construction worker. So in Kingston, he works as a subcontractor with a firm. Mm-hmm. But moving from there, after that firm migrated to closed down and he migrated to overseas, he was left here and he came home. After tragedy struck the family between my uncle and him, that was brothers, and he died and my father took it to a different level. He was hurting and he
took
decided
it hard
to move away from everything that reminds him. So he came home. Believe me, there was no work. There was he became suddenly a farmer that he had no clue what that's supposed to be. He didn't know anything about farming.
So he had to transition into a new career.
But my mom now, she knows about farming because she's from Westmoreland and she grew up in that field, so she had to be teaching him what is what, and he has to just put himself into this new life.
So for is it in the household no meat, just vegetarian stuff?
At one time, it was like that. But then after he comes back to, we have meat, but guess how we get that? He moved over with 30 heads of goat when he left Kingston. So we're living in Papine.
So, I don't understand, in a household where you're not supposed to be eating meat, you have cows and goats?
We have goats because he raised
cows
goats.
and goats.
But we buy the cows after he came here.
Okay.
So he sell out all the goats and go into cow rearing.
Okay.
Because that was the way to get money to keep his family because he's not working. So he had to raise animals, sell to keep. In that time, Rastafarian children don't go to school, are not allowed in school, so I'm homeschooled.
Oh, why is it that they were not allowed to go to school?
There was a ban on Rastafarian children back then that they had to cut their hair.
Oh.
So I am a victim of that.
Right.
So you know, I'm very passionate about this religion thing that people takes to a different level, because it damages life and nobody seems to care.
Yes.
But so being homeschool and all of that, never enter back the system at all since being thrown out.
So your family decided that the children will not cut their hair, so you wouldn't go to
because it's their religion.
Right.
So they were not going against it. And
but we're still having that in school at this point,
right?
Because
recently it was mentioned with a small child, and I was like, no, this can't be happening again. Another generation? No, it could not happen. And believe me, it cannot happen, because I know how that works.
Right. So you guys were forced to homeschool.
So we were homeschooled. Now, homeschool me and my mom has to become the teacher.
What was your mom's educational level, background?
She didn't have an high school level, that's for sure. But she reads very well, and she's one that she just loves children, and she will throw herself into anything to let them achieve.
Right.
You know, so she'll keep school every single day and take in other people's children as well.
So it wasn't just our own children.
You know, so based on the old story of we not going to school and we are being homeschooled and all of that, people kind of not so keen on this homeschool thing. We were like a different set of people.
Oh, okay.
Because Port Antonio, I've never witnessed a Rastafarian family before, because we were the first. So you can imagine how that goes down.
So tell me about your family then. Since you said it was the first, your family was the first set of Rastafarian to be in Portland. Tell me about who was your father? You said the father is from Portland.
Yes.
Who is your father? Your father is still alive?
Yes, he is.
So who is your father?
He's known as Bunga Jan. He's living at Breastwork.
Bunga Jan. Everybody know Bunga Jan. Well,
you see,
from Portland.
My mom died many years ago.
Yeah.
I was much younger. She died and left all my small siblings, where I had to become mothers for them, including her 2-year-old baby.
Oh.
So I have to step in with my father.
You are the eldest one?
I'm the eldest daughter. I only have a brother that is older than I am.
Okay.
But he's living overseas at that time when my mom died. And that's a part of me that hurts a lot, the passing of my mom. Because it's...
How old were you when she died?
I was about 25 when she died.
25?
Yeah.
Yeah, an adult.
And adult that has been going in and out of hospital right along.
And your mom was there with you?
And my mom was the one who takes care of me all the time.
Oh.
And then she become not able to, and my life seems to just seem like it's going down. And it was
tell me about when did you start, when did you become sick? When, because you have lupus.
Yeah, but I was diagnosed with hyperactive thyroid at 18.
Oh.
I was ill for 15 years with that disease. So I was in and out.
What is that?
It's an overactive thyroid gland. So it caused the neck to have that swollen, and you lost weight. I was like shaky and hair loss. I spent more time in the hospital than I spent at home, and I was between Port Antonio, KPH, and I was like that. I spent more time at the hospital than I spent at home.
Yeah.
Because I started developing an enlarged heart and all of that based on this disease.
Oh, wow.
At one time, I went into a coma for 3 days, and the doctor said I wasn't going to make it. They were stopping treatment because I wasn't responding to. But
the doctor stopped treatment because you weren't responding, so they had basically
give up on me.
Yeah.
But I guess God has other plans.
Yes.
because the very same time they decided that, it was the same time I pulled through and come back. And I realized from then that there was a difference between me and even my siblings, that something was happening to me, that God was preparing me for something much greater. But my journey with sickness has not ended, because I was a stubborn one coming to God.
Mm-hmm.
Based
You
on where I'm
repeat
coming
that?
from. I'm a stubborn one coming to Him, because it's not easy coming from being a Rastafarian to being a Christian, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard change.
Tell me about that transformation.
Because it takes me a long time. The loss of my mom, which makes me even bitter in a way that I never read the Bible anymore after growing up.
You were bitter with who? With God?
With God.
Why?
Because I have what they call a gift. I will see things and they happen.
Oh.
So I saw my mother journey through sickness and all that was going to happen before it happens. And I was kind of mad with God, because I said, if I was seeing all these things and it is happening just the same way, it is just fulfilling, and I could not do anything about it, then what was the purpose of showing them?
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped reading the Bible.
Knocking
I stopped
in the
praying
in the bag.
and I just move on. It takes me a while to get past that. But after,
So you would see the things in what? In vision, or it just come to you?
I would go to my bed and I would just
You'll
see
just dream
everything. It? And I will come and I will say to my mom, and she will say to me, that's not going to happen, and I'm not going to leave you. Yeah. But then it happens. I go to my bed and I dreamt. Somebody come and said to me, they're going to separate you and your mom. And then we were separated for real. I went to the hospital and from September, and I never came out until November, when they had a strike at the hospital. And the same
So you were in the
time,
hospital for about 2 months.
right. And when I came home after they had the strike and they were discharging all the patients, because Red Cross had to come in and all of these things, and the army came in, I was discharged. I never saw my mother after I went into the hospital, because they didn't tell me that she was ill again. And I had to deal with the fact, knowing that I had seen the separation coming, and then when it came, it hit me so hard that even the very clothes she was going to be buried in, I saw, and I said it to my grandaunt.
You had that vision?
And I said it to my grandaunt, what I saw, and the day of the funeral, because I never saw her at all until the 17th of January, when she was buried.
So you wasn't there during her last days?
Mm-mm. No. No. I even get the vision who would have carried a message that she had gone. So I was like very, very upset.
So you were upset with God because you would have you see these things, but then
as a young person, not understanding the work of God and how He works, I was saying to myself, how can you show a child all of these things and not showing them how to prevent them? At the same time, I was going through all the sickness from 18 and still surviving, and she has so much to give. So many people looking to her, and then there she goes. And I'm still here.
You had children at the time when she died?
I had 2 at the time. One was just a couple of months old. I was not 1 year as yet. And one was 2. So I was just mad. So I don't no longer read the Bible, I no longer pray, I no longer do anything pertaining to. So I was just being me. And after I met my two last children father, I was a factory worker then, because my mom is gone, and I got a job at the factory, and I was working there, and I've been struggling with illness there and all of that. I realized that I met this man, and he seems to be all good. You know, okay, I have 3 children for the first dad, and we decided, he was telling me about the shop and bar that he had opened in his parish in St. Thomas, and it closed down for many years, but he's unable to. So he took me there, and I look at it, and I throw partner all the time, and I said, why not just open them back? But he was having challenging financially to do so. So we decided to use mine, plus we went and
Your partner draw.
Credit the liquor from the wholesale, and we went and stocked the bar and put a little in the shop, and I get my father and some of his friends to build on the shop and so on. So we moved to St. Thomas, and my father and my brothers and sisters continue here. But after 7 years after living in St. Thomas, I give birth to his first daughter. But I was having health issue during that pregnancy. But after giving birth to her, 3 months later I had a stroke.
You had a stroke. Hold right there, Miss Jackie. Folks, we have to take a break. We'll continue hearing Jackie's story. We'll be right back. Care Center offers residential and non-residential geriatric and recuperative care. We're focused on improving and maintaining the health and wellness of our clients. Registered with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we're located at 130 Moonlight Bay, St. Margaret's Bay, Portland, Jamaica, West Indies. Our settings are salubrious with well-trained staff and attention to details. Contact us at 876-913-3247 and 876-368-1493. Email us at bloomcarecenter@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Let us help you care for those you care for. All right, welcome back to Talk, Totally Accepting Life Skill. We're here talking today with Jackie. Jackie is sharing her journey. She's telling us her struggles during school years, not being able to go to school because her family and herself, they're Rastafarians, her health issues, and the passing of her mom. We'll continue with Jackie's story. So, you had a stroke
in 2001.
Right after your daughter was born?
My daughter was 3 months old.
3 months?
At that time. When I had that stroke, I just have headaches, and then I passed out a couple of days later. When I woke up, I realized my right side couldn't move.
Couldn't move at all?
I couldn't talk properly. So I was like crying because the words just not coming
out.
I recall this nurse was saying, "You're going to be fine," because my father had stroke and he recovers. You might not be back to your normal self, but you will survive and so on. But after leaving the hospital, spending some time there, and they sent me to UE for physiotherapy and so on. I ended up had to get 2 physio to work with me at home. And my sisters now take turns to come to St. Thomas to
because you were living in St. Thomas at that time. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was living in Bath.
In Bath.
Right. And it was like that. But even then, after all that I've been through before, I could not understand at the time that it was a calling from God for me.
After you were just upset with God and all of that.
So what happened is that I was in my bed and I wanted to use the bathroom, and I called my sister Jessie to come, but she answered, but she didn't come at the same time. And then I called her again, but then I started crying, and I remember myself saying, God, I don't want my children to remember me like this. I want them to remember me as the mother that combs their hair for school, make their breakfast, cook for them, wash, and all of these things. I rather to be removed and leave them with the memory of me being an active mother than watching me being an invalid to them and a burden to others. But at that time I heard a voice come to me, and it says to me, have you no faith more than that? But when I look, I saw no one.
The voice came plain
but
to
the
you.
voice sounded like my mother.
Oh.
And I saw no one. And I started saying, maybe Jessie heard what I said. But then when she came, she said she didn't say anything. And after the voice said, repeat the question 3 times. You have more faith than that. I find myself saying, God, if it's thy will that I should remain in this condition, let it be. But if it's not, then let your will be done. And that was the day I realized I started finding the strength to go through the physiotherapy, and I feel less pain during these exercises. And Miss Smith, who was one of my physiotherapy, was like, she was saying, what happened to you over the days? You have become somebody else.
Right.
Because you're not afraid to do the saddle, you're not afraid to pump the ball, you're not, it's as if you're not feeling the pains that you normally feel during these exercises. But then eventually I started using the walker, and they started teaching me to try to wash. And
so you had to learn everything all over again.
And so on. But I give God thanks for that, because it puts me where I ought to be.
How so?
Because after I left Portland, St. Thomas, and came back here because of the struggle with the children and the health issues and all of that, I was now walking again, but not as strong as I should have. I couldn't jump, I couldn't run, I couldn't do any of those. I couldn't squat and get up without support. And all these things. And I walked with a kind of limpy, slow move, but at least I was able to move. But I came home. My father came and picked me up from St. Thomas, and we came home because both me and the father discussed that I should come home where
you have family
with
support,
the children and so on, and he would follow us. But that was not to be, because a couple of months later, when I came home, I have a second child for him in that 68.
With you hardly being able to move?
And that child, I didn't know I was pregnant until I was 5 months, because it never shows.
You didn't feel anything?
I knew something was wrong, but when the doctors didn't see anything. So based on that fact that they didn't see anything, and all the tests, the pregnancy tests and whatever, come back negative, they said that it was a thyroid that could cause the period to stop.
Right.
So Dr. May put me back on some hormone pill to bring back the period. When I took the first one, I feel like I was dying. So I called her and told her I can't take them. She said they should bring me back to the doctor. And she would change them. But something makes her decide to send me to do a second ultrasound because I did one and it shows a cyst. When she did the second ultrasound, I was 5 months pregnant.
That's how you found out you were pregnant?
She was like, so where was this child hiding?
Yeah.
So I called Tanika my miracle baby.
Yeah, she's your last child?
She's my last child. She's now in 11th grade at
Okay.
But
wow.
So I leave there with her 4 months old and come home.
So why didn't he? Because he said that once you guys come over, he would come.
Right.
Why change his mind?
I guess he never thought I would have been fit enough to work and all these things because he's a gambler. He gambles, card pack and all these things. And he think he has it all with the house and the car and everything. I got a phone call. After between my sisters and me, we looked houses and he came and looked, and each time he came and he said, oh, it's okay. Yes, I like that one. So we'll take that one. By the time he reached back to St. Thomas, I got the call. He finds some reason not to like it. But then he finally says it was over with a phone call.
So he called you on the phone to break up with you?
Tell me that. That was it.
After 2
9
children?
years.
9 years
together.
and 2 children?
And 2 children. And he said that was it. And he wants one of the child, the first one.
So why only one? Why didn't you ask for 2 of them then?
And I can't tell you what I said, because I just listened. And when he finished, I said, you're finished? He said, yes. And I just said what I have to say, and then I hung up. And he drove all the way from St. Thomas to come here. And he did took the child. And we had to call police and the bar him at Castle, and it came back here. But that wasn't even bar. He went to the station and he told them that my daughter, who was at Apple Grove, 15, break the car windscreen, that he took $13,000 from me to buy a windscreen.
Your own money?
My own money, my car. Because I gave him the money to buy the car. That was my brother's money that I borrowed. And he came down and told me that the car was parked and gravel dropped from a truck and break the windscreen. And he got a ticket. So I gave him the money to fix the windscreen and pay for the ticket. That same car windscreen almost cost my 15-year-old to go to jail.
Wow. Wow.
Because it was a Sunday night and the police didn't have a car to come for her.
Oh.
So my sister signed the paper to pay for the windscreen after I told her I wasn't too. And he said he was only giving me until the Friday the other week to pay for the windscreen.
So how did you get back your daughter? Because he came and he took her.
The police bar him at Castle and bring him back to Port Antonio. So we meet at Port Antonio. So I get back Nakisha at the station there. So we went home, and out of that
he would have a right to take her as well, because he's the father as well, eh? So unless you go to court and get custody, but any parent can have the child.
Yes, but not by kidnapping.
Yeah.
Because he took her without my consent.
Without your consent. Okay.
And in the middle of the night.
Okay. How old was she at the time?
She was in basic school.
Oh, she was basically a baby. Okay. All right. Tell me about, how did you find out that you had lupus?
Well, after I had the last child, I'm having serious issues. After giving birth to her, I started having hemorrhage and I started swelling and and not going down. So I spent 2 weeks in Kingston at Jubilee with her, and then from there I've been having all kind of problems. So they've been doing tests upon tests upon tests, and they couldn't find out what was wrong.
Right.
Then later down, I was on the ward, just come out, and I went back by the Port Antonio Hospital, and I saw a doctor, Dr. Morgan, When she went through my docket, she was seeing all the tests that I've done that would have needed to be done, and that was the only one they never did.
Okay.
So she asked Dr. Hall permission, because she was a junior doctor, to send me to do the test. Well, that was the test that came back. So this gave me a referral to UE to see Dr. Dakuda, who's a rheumatologist doctor there. And that was where I started my lupus treatment.
How did you take that news? I mean, considering all the health issues that you have had before,
you know,
this is another
I didn't
one.
know anything about the disease. That was the first part. So
what is lupus? Before we continue, what is lupus?
Lupus is an autoimmune disease. It's the body that turns on itself. So it's the antibody that's supposed to fight the bad virus no longer identify the bad one, so it attacks the organs of the body. So it will damage the kidney, it will damage the heart, it will just damage whatever comes across it. You will have it and not know that you have it. It's a secret killer. It's one of the worst things you could ever have.
So how
because you have pain, it gives you pain all over the body, the muscle, the joints. You lost weight, you lost hair, you have skin discoloration. You just becomes a complete different. It's as if you become a zombie.
So how did you take that news and going through treatment and you have gone through so many other health issues?
It was just like, for me, it was just another stepping stone, another setback, because after being through all of that, I didn't care anymore about what comes next.
Oh.
I just brace myself to embrace anything that comes next. So when she said lupus, I asked, what is that? And she started explaining. And then when I went to Dr. Dakuda, he said he gave me a website to go on to do a research. He said, young lady, what you are going to be living with now, it's like evil, treating evil.
Wow.
Because the treatment is even worse than the disease itself. So that was, when he said that, I just smiled, because I just look at myself and I said, what next?
What's next? So you're living with lupus currently?
So I'm living with lupus now for 13 years.
13 years.
Getting treatment at KPH now, after spending some time on the ward. So I'm now at KPH with Dr. Tollery.
What are some of the treatments that you're on?
Steroid drugs. I took, they're ranging a lot of dosage of drugs. It all depends on how the disease flare. So sometimes I can go up to 31 pills per day.
Per day.
Sometimes it cuts down to a lower amount, dosage, but it all depends on how it works, it flares. Because what happens, sometimes I can't afford to
I was just about to ask, the medications, are they expensive?
Because they're very expensive, and I don't have health insurance or health card or anything like that. So it's a family thing for me, with my support, my brothers and sisters who help me going. And sometimes I don't want to ask them for the help.
But you do have that support system.
But we're tight like that, because we were brought up tight like that. So we just keep it going like that. So, but sometimes I really don't ask.
How has the disease affect your whole family life?
Let me tell you, sometimes I think my children worries about me most, and because when I'm sick, I think I could see it on them that they are not sure. They're more afraid of losing me than just having me there sick.
Yeah.
You know? So they would come, and every now and then they would call me all the time, and they would say, Mommy, you're all right? You're okay? Even those that are no longer at home, and even the baby, once she would come and she would hug me and she said, Mommy, you all right? And I said, yes, I'm fine.
But Jackie, you always have a smile on your face. And every time I see you, you're out there, you just always have a smile on your face, like you're fine, nothing is happening with you.
In my mind,
you're always happy. Right, so you're always happy, Miss Jackie. You look like nothing is happening. You're always happy. You always have a smile on your face, especially, you know, once you walk in the store and you come out, it's just always a bright smile on your face.
Yes, because I have learned my purpose. And the best thing a person can ever do is find their purpose.
Their purpose.
And once you find your purpose, then you don't let anything bothers you. You learn to live with things and move on.
So let me ask you a question.
Others.
Let me ask you a question now. Are you back to reading your Bible? And
I am now a child of God. I go to the First Holiness Apostolic Church.
okay.
And I use my spiritual life to impact others.
Yes.
Plus my journey with sickness, plus other unkind thing that happens in my life that makes me who I am today, to impact the life of others who are going through things
Yes.
and know not how to deal with them.
Right. Is there a support group here in Portland for lupus?
No, I am trying to put together that group.
Nice.
Because they are not just for lupus, but in my mind, I want to put a group for lupus, yes, but I want to add even people that is living with cancer, because lupus is very much close to this. And the most important thing for people that is living with chronic disease is to have a mindset. It's not the disease that kills you. It's your mind that kills you. If you begin to accept defeat from your illness, then you're defeated. But if you tell yourself that you are more than this disease through Christ, then you are victorious. Don't think about what you're living with. Think about who you are, what you are, and what God wants you to do on this earth.
She's strong. She's saying all of those things, but I am not like her. My sickness, even though I'm living with lupus, some may say my lupus, my symptoms are different from her, so she can say that because she's not in my shoes. What do you say to those folks who think that because you have gone through so much, not just lupus but other health issues? What do you say to folks who feel like giving up?
To them, giving up is not an option. You can fight this. You can beat this.
Yes.
By just being strong inside, not on the outside, because the outside will not do. Find people with positive energy.
Yes, that's important.
Do not seek out friends that will say, "Oh, poor you, how you met?" Don't ask those questions to a person that is sick. Encourage them. Show them the light, not the dark. Because if you're going to go to them and remind them of what they're going through, they're just going to dwell on it.
Yes.
They need to be away from it and to think of things that they can do that can impact life. No longer about you or me. My life is no longer mine. My life is now to save somebody else.
So powerful.
From falling deep from a disease that kills. Not just a person at my age, but just about any age group. Family support is good. Positive energy. Do not speak of your disease as if you are already dead, but speak of it as something that you get strength from. Start seeing another person's problem and not your own. Change your way of eating, your lifestyle. Focus, develop a mental mind to say that each day is important for me because there's somebody that I am going to impact their life today.
Yes.
So I can't focus on what I'm going through. When I get up in the morning, I have to hold on my bed at one time to walk before I can stand on my own. because I'm having so much pain. I cannot stand on my own. I have to hold on. If I stoop, I have to get help to stand.
Yeah.
I have to get help to go to the bathroom. I have to get help. But today, I am sitting here to tell others out there, lupus is not a killer. It is a disease, but it is not one that will kill you if you don't allow it to kill you.
Yes.
It's all about you. It's how you think. And it's how you look at life that makes the difference.
Wow.
No matter what disease you have, you can rise above them. Because Jacqueline has rise above 3.
Wow.
I've rise above hyperthyroid. I've rise above stroke. And I'm rising above lupus. I'm going 13 years and beyond. And I'm not quitting no time now. Because there are people that comes to me to talk to me about things. I don't know them. But God sent them from wherever. And when I'm finished with them, they are a better person. They have survived. One of them sent their mother to find me to say, I now married and live overseas and I have a child.
Wow.
And she's a lupus patient who was giving up. It's not the disease that kills you. It's the mind. Once the moment you accept defeat, you're defeated. God is greater than all of these things. I can tell a person now, He is much greater. He's stronger than everything that He comes. And He never gives you more than you can bear. And He promised that He will be with you in it. That is how great my God is. And I want to tell people this, it's not the label on the church.
Which camera? Look in the camera, Miss Jackie. Go ahead and...
It doesn't mean that you have to be any denomination. It's not about denomination. It's about God and your relationship with Him and how you feel about Him and how you believe and trust in your God to take you through every storms of life. Whether it's sickness, whether it's poverty, whether it's abuse, whether no matter what. God is able to take you through them. It's all about you and Him. He is your God. He creates you. He knows everything about you. And remember, if you want proof, try Job. That's a story you will put yourself to. Compare yourself with Job because I did it. It works for me. And Job came through because He multiplied him after removing everything.
Yes.
He will bring you back. My children, Father, never know I would have stand again. So He rejected me. He didn't want a burden. But here I am. I live to raise my children. The last one is 16 out of 5. And I'm still here. Doctor said I wouldn't have children. But I am here and I give birth to 5. Struggle? Sure. Because there wouldn't be a testimony if there weren't one.
Right.
And God is going to give you testimony to bring others to Him. My job on earth is to bring people to realize that whatever comes your way, it's not a curse, but a testimony and a trial that to prove your strength and your God.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Wow. I think we can all say amen after that. I am inspired. I've been inspired. Wow. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It's a pleasure to be here. For sharing your journey with all of us and your testimony. Thank you so much. As I said, I'm inspired. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure you'll come back another time and give us an update.
I definitely will.
Okay.
I definitely will.
All right. All right. Thank you, folks, for joining us again on this another episode of Talk. I'm sure you at home or wherever you are listening, I'm sure you have been inspired by Jackie's story and her testimony as well. Let us live for not ourselves, but live for God. See you next time on Talk the Journey. Want to give special thanks to Legal Chambers Attorneys at Law, Roots 21 Bar and Grill for this beautiful venue. My outfit, well, this outfit again is from my closet. Check out the shoes, Can you see the shoes, Cassidy? This outfit is from my closet again. I'm getting into it, the old fashion thing. I'm getting there slowly but surely. Special thanks to my team, my production team, Cassidy, Roel, Shavar, O'Neill, my makeup. You see my face? Oh, yes, my stylist, Kim. Well, she didn't do much today, but... Alright, thanks again, folks. We'll see you next time on another episode of Talk. May not be the same place, but definitely next week. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube on Talk the Journey, Instagram on Talk the Journey podcast. Please, folks, don't just watch the video. Subscribe. We need you to subscribe. We need to bring it up. So, folks, please remember, subscribe, and share. All right, see you next time. Thank you. Care Center offers residential and non-residential geriatric and recuperative care. We're focused on improving and maintaining the health and wellness of our clients. Registered with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we're located at 130 Moonlight Bay, St. Margaret's Bay, Portland, Jamaica, West Indies. Our settings are salubrious with well-trained staff and attention to details. Contact us at 876-913-3247 and 876-368-1493. Email us at bloomcarecenter@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Let us help you care for those you care for.